Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. We've talked a little bit about the first major seasonal update for Black Ops 6 in the past, with a handful of leaks that have surfaced regarding the release date, some of the expected content. Of course, we also already know a ton about what to expect with Black Ops 6 Season 1. This is when we're going to see the Warzone integration take place. So all of your Black Ops 6 weapons and operators and perks and various features like that are going to be added into Warzone and stack on top of all the MW2 and MW3 content there already. We're going to see Omni movement added to Warzone. We'll see Urzikstan updates, Warzone ranked play, everything like that. On the multiplayer front, we're slated to get ranked play earlier than ever during Season 1 of Black Ops 6. We're going to see new weapons, new operators, new modes, maps, battle pass stuff, all sorts of the usual standard seasonal content there. Zombies is going to see its third installment of round base, with the first in-year map coming in Season 1 as well. They say before the end of 2024, so may not come right at launch, but like I said, we already actually have a surprising amount of Season 1 information. We're still waiting to see, what might leak in the coming days if we get weapon specifics and we can see, okay, we've got this rifle, this SMG coming in Season 1, these maps, these operators, so on and so forth. And if that stuff does end up leaking, does end up surfacing, you guys know I'm gonna have you covered with the need to know info right as it happens. So feel free to stick it here for that, alongside everything else going on in COD on a daily basis by hitting that subscribe button. Right now, just over 50% of you guys watching the videos are not subscribed to the channel, so if you want to be in the know, there is no better place than right here. Also, if you enjoy this video as we jump into a big surprise that Black Ops 6 Season 1 seems to have in store for us, a like rating would be seriously appreciated as well. Honestly, cannot thank you guys enough for all the support on the Black Ops 6 content thus far. But you may recall that a few days back, we actually talked about how the release date for Black Ops 6 Season 1 was leaked, courtesy of the Little Caesars promotion going on in game. Yes, Little Caesars is in fact now leaking Call of Duty information, which is a hilarious reality that we're now in. But through those leaks and some of the promotional material, we know that November 14th is that reported date for Black Ops 6 Season 1. Now, that could change by a day or so. Typically, we do see seasons drop on Wednesdays and major updates happen on Wednesdays, and it's been that case for several years now. For them to change it in Black Ops 6 would kind of be strange, but if it's off by a day, nothing too crazy. Mid-November, though, is essentially that unofficially official time frame that's been confirmed for Season 1. So really in just a couple of weeks now, like we're coming up on this very, very quick. And a big thing with the first season every single year, especially here in the Warzone era of Call of Duty, is the problems that come along with the significant updates. Now, on the multiplayer front, things usually are not nearly as problematic. Sure, there might be a couple of bugs and glitches, maybe some of the new maps have exploits, or there's initially some problems with battle pass progression or something like that, but usually the Season 1 update for multiplayer is not really that, problematic as mentioned, or there aren't that many bugs or game-breaking glitches going on. The same cannot be said for Warzone, and this is a story as old as time now when it comes to Warzone integrations. These have not been the smoothest situations. You may recall back to the first ever Warzone integration, curiously enough with the predecessor of Black Ops 6, Black Ops Cold War, where everything was added, all the Black Ops Cold War weapons and all that stuff was added into the game, and initially none of the weapons worked as intended. Every single attachment in the game was wrong. The pros and cons were not accurate. Some were doing crazy things, others were doing nothing close to what they were saying they were supposed to do. The weapons were super overpowered. DMR zone ran crazy for weeks on Verdansk, made the game almost unplayable. Like, that update had a lot of issues, and it took them quite some time to sort it out. We also had issues in the Vanguard integration where graphics were awful. The game was crashing like crazy. It was basically unplayable on console due to the visual bugs and glitches that were going on there. And then we had the Warzone 2 launch. That integration wasn't necessarily, problematic. Like, there weren't crazy bugs and glitches and issues. It was just bad. The game was not good. And then MW3 Warzone is probably the smoothest integration that we've seen so far, but even that had some problems. We had things like the Interceptor and the Wasp Swarm being crazy broken metas the entire time, when Season 1 first dropped. And the reason for a lot of these issues and a lot of these problematic launches is how close these seasonal updates have been to the major breaks and holiday breaks that the devs take every single year. Of course, Usually season 1 launches in like early December, mid-December in some cases, and then for the holidays, Christmas, New Year's, all the devs leave. They're out of office, they're at home with their families enjoying their personal lives, as they should. Unfortunately though, that means the game is not getting any major updates, so any bugs that are going on do not get fixed, any broken things do not get nerfed, glitches and all sorts of problems like that don't get the attention they need to actually sort out the game. So we're left with a state of the game for 2 to 3 weeks that can be very rough. So I think Black Ops 6 is trying to get ahead of that outright by having the season 1 update a lot earlier than we've ever seen in the middle of November on the 13th or 14th as mentioned. But a big surprise now that some leakers and some data miners have found is that season 1 actually seems to have more significant updates in it than we've ever seen in the time that we've ever had seasons in Call of Duty. We know every single time a season drops, you get the season launch and you get the battle pass, then you get a couple of weapons, the modes, the operators, the usual stuff, right? And then about a month later or so, anywhere between 3 to 5 weeks after the launch of a season, we get the mid-season update, which they deem the reloaded updates. And those typically include a few of the in-season updates, maybe 1 or 2 additional maps, 1 or 2 additional weapons, then a few other gameplay changes, weapon tuning, and adjustments like that, right? So typically every season we have 2 actual significant content updates, and then in between we might see some hotfix patches, some weapon changes and things like that, but those other weeks are not nearly as eventful in terms of content. Well, now for Black Ops 6, things seem to be changing entirely there. According to Semtex Leaks, a name that we've talked about before, not only is Black Ops 6 Season 1 going to have its launch update and launch content, it's also going to have a reloaded update as well in the Season 1.5 or mid-season update. But according to the files right now, there was also a Season 1.75 update, so a 1 3/4 update for some reason. And this is something that has never been mentioned in the files or referenced officially in any seasonal update, any data mine stuff, any leaks that we've seen before in Call of Duty. And what's really interesting here is the timing of all of this. As mentioned, Season 1 launches mid-November, 13th, 14th, standard seasonal update. Presumably based off of that date, we would then have the reloaded update likely in mid-December. I would imagine the second week, maybe early 3rd week of December. That way the reloaded update has ample time to be released, and any potential bugs or glitches that happen with the reloaded update can be sorted out. They can be addressed prior to all the devs going on their holiday breaks. That way we won't have any broken guns or crazy glitches that make the game unplayable, super bad exploits or anything like that. The game can be stable while the devs are out of office. So that'd be the Season 1 update and the Season 1.5 update. But then, with this timing, in theory, shortly into January, likely when the devs are still on break or maybe just returning from their holiday break and their New Year break, Season 1 would be ending, basically. Season 2 would be ready to drop with the usual schedule. It seems like maybe Season 1.75, this second or third significant in-season update, however you want to count them there, would actually end up being like a first 2025 style update, and maybe includes a few additional updates, a few additional content drops, so that they can sort of ease into the launch of Season 2 after they are fully back and ready. You know, this Season 1.75 update would be things that they've already had ready prior to the break, so they don't have to stress about, hey, we're all back in office for the first time in 2 weeks, and we have to drop a major update and make sure everything's ready to go and everything's set up correctly for that. This is good for, I think, a handful of reasons. Not only for game stability and update stability, as we've sort of been talking about throughout this entire video, but from a content standpoint, this would make Season 1 last a whole lot more. You know, as cool as mid-season updates are, you can pretty much experience all of what they do have to offer in the first week or so, and then you're left with a couple of weeks to just hang around and wait for the next seasonal update. At least Modern Warfare 3 had like weekly challenges and stuff, so that kept you busy, but this year that's not necessarily a thing. So having a second mid-season update or a second in-season update that's actually significant would be a big game changer in terms of potential content drops and what that can actually do for prolonging a season's life. I actually really like the idea of this, and I'm very curious to see if these data mined, numbers with the season's updates are actually going to come to fruition. Keep in mind, at the end of the day, this stuff is still leaked and it's just code in the game, so it could be adjusted. It could just be typed out a certain way for whatever reason, and it doesn't actually mean anything significant. And if that's the case, it is what it is. Such is the scenario with leaks. Sometimes they pan out and it's like, hey, we talked about this months ago and now we actually see it happening. That's pretty cool. Other times it's like, wait a minute, what happened to this? We heard so much about it and it just disappeared. And sometimes that happens. But obviously, if we do see any official announcements and reveals, which they'll be coming up here soon with season 1 on the horizon already, I'll be sure to keep you guys in the know with all the latest info, official reveals, announcements, trailers, blog posts. It'll all be right here. So feel free to hit that subscribe button, turn on those post notifications, and if you enjoyed this video, a like rating on your way out would be seriously appreciated as well. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you later. Peace out.